maximizers, something came up the other day that intrigued me. It's not exactly my area of expertise, so I wanted to get your opinion on it. I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about the possible need to get cash out of the banks because of this pandemic that we're facing and a possible run on the banks so that people have cash available. If for some reason we end up in a disaster type scenario where cash is king. Now, my thinking when it first came up was I'm not so sure that we're in the same type of environment that we've been in the past, where it's been necessary, where a run on the bank is like the first thing on people's minds. So the question is, do you need cash? Should this be something that's on your mind during this crisis? And if so, how much do you need? I think it's always good to have a few $100s worth of cash available, because the way that I think about it is you want to have, as far as your emergency funds, you want to have money that's available immediately. That would be cash. You want to have money that's available within an hour. That could be an ATM. So money that's in a checking or savings account or a line of credit. You want to have money that's available within a week or two, something that it's not really dire, but you do have access to it. And that's where the money inside our infinite bank comes in, okay? So each one of those serves its own purpose. You don't want to put 6 months worth of emergency funds into cash because you don't need it all at once in a normal situation. Having money all in cash presents its own problems. One, you're not earning any interest that way. In fact, you're losing ground to inflation when you're just sitting on cash. Two, you have a risk of theft. You could lose it. It can get lost in a fire. It can burn up. And if you carry it with you, there's always the risk of civil asset forfeiture, where you get pulled over, you got a lot of cash on you, and the authorities assume that it's from nefarious activities and they seize it. So those are all risks that you face having cash. Something to think about too during this crisis. If you decide to go pull a bunch of money out of the bank, you are at risk of all of those things. Is that a greater risk than it presents leaving it in the bank or leaving it in your policy? So these are the things that I wanted to talk about. I haven't done a deep dive into thinking about all of these things. So one of the reasons I was thinking that we have a different environment than in past crises where there have been run on banks is a lot of people operate with just digital currencies these days. We've got the ability to send money person to person, so we don't even necessarily need access to the bank. So I was trying to think of what are the scenarios where we might need some cash. If I go to a store that takes credit cards or it takes my debit card, I can essentially use the cash out of my account that way. Let's say I have a private party that I need to buy something from. I can use Venmo or PayPal or Cash App. You can send money through Facebook and WhatsApp. You could use Bitcoin. There's all kinds of things that you can use digitally that serve the purpose. So my thinking was, it may not be that important. I don't know that you need to pull out and have $10,000 on hand in cash. Now there could be some scenarios where that may make sense, but for the most part, I think for most people, I don't anticipate seeing a run on the banks and the need to go and pull out your cash. I know in some countries they put a stricter limit on what can be withdrawn day to day because I think they have some of those concerns, but I'm guessing they don't necessarily have the same access as we do to our digital currency. So what do you think? Tell me in the comments section. I'm happy to engage down there, but I'm interested in seeing what you all think. What are you doing to prepare for who knows what lies ahead? It could be a very long economic downturn. It could be something that we bounce back from pretty quickly. So what are you doing to prepare? What do you think about cash? Do you need cash? Do you have cash set aside? Talk to me. Put the questions in the comments. And of course, if you like the video and if you like my content, give me a like and subscribe. and we'll see you next time.